Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today I want to talk a little bit about something that's been kind of on my mind. And with the rising car prices, really, no matter what you like, if you like sports cars, whether it's, a Corvette, a Mustang, whether you like HELLCATs, just whatever, if you like those really, really powerful cars, unfortunately, they are very, very expensive. So there's an awful lot of us out there that have a specific budget. So what I wanted to do today is actually talk a little bit about really 7 different cars that you can go out and buy for $45,000 or less that are still very iconic, very powerful, very fun, and just really, really great to own. So I'm going to give you my top 7. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can find that down there in the corner. Also, hit the notification bell for more great content, and we are off. We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. God. Now, I do want to make a couple of just quick qualifying statements because I know everybody out there is like, oh, Racer X, why aren't you including this car or that car? Keep in mind, there's a lot of cars out there that you can buy for $45,000 or less, but I'm trying to kind of think about cars that are just what I feel like are just absolutely still bad to the bone. These are used cars now, guys, but I'm not going past 10 years. I'm not going anything older than 10 years, so it's a model that you would still be able to go out and buy that's 2010 or newer. And I also want to make mention that, yeah, these are used cars. So, I mean, if you're finding a car out there that's got frame damage or was in a flood or just blew up or whatever, yeah, it's going to be less money, but that is not typical. You can't typically go out and buy one for that price. Everything I'm going to talk about today, you should be able to go out and buy for $45,000 or less and still get a really nice, relatively low mileage car. So the first car on my list is from Cadillac. It is actually the 2nd gen CTSV. What a fantastic car. I mean, you're talking about a vehicle that makes 556 horsepower out of an LSA. It's an aluminum block with a supercharger on it, 6.2 liter. And they actually make this in several different trims. So back in 2009, they actually started making the sedan. And then in 2011, they actually came out with both the wagon, which is really a wacky vehicle, and the coupe, which is probably my favorite. And you can get this in both a manual and an automatic transmission. These cars really perform well. You see them at the drag strip still. What a good looking, striking car. And they have really, really nice interiors on them, the CTSVs. And these cars can be had for $45,000 or less, really, in whatever trim you want if you look hard enough. And they still have quite the road presence, a lot of power. They're moddable. They're just a fantastic platform. The CTSV, really from 2009 to 2014, you can still find them out there with low mileage, and they're fantastic. The second car on my list is from Ford, and as you can imagine, I couldn't leave it off. It is the 2013 and 2014 Shelby GT500. This is an iconic car, guys. Yes, it's only available in the manual, but you're talking 662 horsepower, and it is just kind of a brute blunt force instrument. I mean, what a fantastic car. I mean, it's got that iconic Cobra on the side. It's got that 5.8 liter supercharged V8 in it. It's got a pretty cool interior, but it's very business-like on the inside of that thing. You don't get a ton of bells and whistles in the Shelby. I mean, that thing is a true driver's car, but it's a great car to own. I actually have done my research on it. I know you can go out and buy these things with somewhat decent miles on them for $45,000 or less, but you have to look kind of hard because they just really didn't make very many. But it is a very, very cool car, the Shelby GT500 from 2013 and 2014. Like I said, that's why we have all the horsepower wars going on right now. That was the start of it, that car. So the third car on my list is actually from BMW. Yes, it is the M3, the F80 platform. Now, 425 horsepower. So I realize this isn't the most powerful car in the bunch, but there's a reason this thing is so iconic. They do make the F82 or the M4 now, but you're talking about an inline 6 twin turbo, and these things are underrated. They're very moddable, very fun to drive. They're just a well-balanced sedan. You can either get this in a 7-speed auto, but it is a dual clutch, which is another reason the car is so fantastic, or you can get it in a 6-speed manual. But the M3 offers a very, very unique driving experience. For those of you out there that have ever owned an M3 or an M4, they are a fantastic car and just a blast to drive and a lot of fun to own. So you can't leave the M3 out of the conversation here. So the fourth car on my list, I'm a huge fan of this one. It is the C6 Z06 Corvette from Chevy. You're talking about a naturally aspirated vehicle, but over 500 horsepower, actually 505 horsepower to be exact. All aluminum, 427. It only comes in a manual. I mean, it is it's a beastly car. And man, these things sound so good. If you've ever heard a C6 Z06 with a cam in it, they sound absolutely wicked. And you do pick up a lot of power with mods on the C6 Z06. You're talking about a car that only weighs like 3,100 pounds. And when Chevy engineers actually designed the thing, they wanted it to be a driver's car, more of a track-focused car, something that could be reliable, but also people could take directly to the track and just get after it. I mean, you talk about big brakes on this car, a nice interior. It's just a nicely finished car that is a lot of fun to drive and own. So I'm a huge fan of the C6 Z06. And yes, you can go out and find a very nice representation of this vehicle for $45,000 or less. So the fifth car on my list might be a little bit of a surprise, and it's available in both a coupe and a sedan. And believe it or not, it's actually from Mercedes. Yes, it is the C63S AMG. What a fantastic car this is. 4-liter V8 twin turbo. It's a monster. 503 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque at under 4,000 pounds, which is kind of cool for a Mercedes because those are typically pretty heavy. This thing is a serious performer, and I've seen versions of these that are actually tuned, downpipes and stuff like that are just straight crazy in terms of power and speed. But I'll actually show you a picture of the interior of these. They are gorgeous on the inside. So I mean, you're talking about the whole package on these things. And yeah, you would have to go out and get one that is a little bit older, like a 2015 when they first came out with this engine. However, they are out there and they are a really solid car. So you've got to take a look at the C63S, the AMG version, because man, what a fantastic representation of power and luxury. So the sixth car on my list, yes, it's a GM. It is the Camaro ZL1. We're talking about the 5th gen ZL1. So they made these really from like 2012 to 2015. And you're talking about the same LSA engine that you find in the Cadillac CTSV. So yes, it's all aluminum supercharged, except for this time, you're going to get an engine that makes 580 horsepower. So a bump up from what is actually in the CTSV version. And what a nice performing car. Now, the interior of this thing is pretty much all business. You don't get a ton of bells and whistles, but it is very functional. But the rock star of the ZL1 5th gen is that engine, that LSA. It is a solid performing car. You still see these things out at the track all the time. They're a very fun car to own. They take great to mods. So another fantastic platform, the 5th gen ZL1. And last but not least, it is, of course, the Dodge Charger or the Dodge Challenger HELLCAT. Yes, you can actually find these vehicles out there for $45,000 or less. Most of them are going to be either early 2016s or 2015s with a little bit of mileage on them, but they're out there. You can get them for $45,000 or less. And as we know, when they came out with these in 2015, it just set the automotive world ablaze. 707 horsepower. This is the vehicle that was the catalyst for all of these high horsepower cars that we're getting these days and all the really cool stuff to come. And Dodge did a ton of marketing with the HELLCAT. And it is just the pinnacle. The HELLCAT is really kind of that pinnacle for power. Yes, they're heavy, but they're also so torquey and so much fun to drive. As we know, they do come in both a manual, which is going to be in the Challenger, or in the Charger, you only get the automatic. And of course, you can get the automatic in the Challenger as well. That's that 8-speed. So actually, if you like the drag race, the 8-speed typically is ideal, but you get either one. And so it's your choice, but certainly the Dodge Charger or Challenger HELLCAT, one of the most iconic power cars out there that can be had for under $45,000. You just have to look for them, but they are available and you can't miss out on that one. Well, that's my assessment of 7 cars that are still absolutely bad to the bone that you can go out right now and buy for $45,000 or less. Yes, guys, keep in mind, this is not an all-inclusive list. There are a lot of really cool cars out there. This is just my take on 7 cars that I think are definitely noteworthy. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys sticking in there with me. I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.